Would you ever just get in your car for a road trip and just start driving with no idea where you were going or no road map? Most of us probably wouldn't do that. So, why should we run our classrooms that way? We wouldn't just go in one day and start teaching with no idea of why we were teaching that or what we wanted our students to know. That's why, as teachers, we create learning targets. Learning targets are the end goal of things we want our students to know and be able to do at the end of a lesson or a unit. Learning targets can be thought of as your final destination of that road trip. Where are you going? When are we going to get there? But how do I get there is the question. How do I write these learning targets? That is where the standard comes in. The standard can be looked at as your roadmap. You read the standard, you see the guidelines of where you want to go with your students. There are 5 different kinds of learning targets. There are knowledge targets, reasoning targets, skill targets, product targets, and disposition targets. It's important to keep all of these different kinds in mind when deciding what is important to you that you feel that your students should know. And also remember that collaboration is very important as well. Collaborate with your coworkers and other people in your grade level to see what they're looking for in their students so that you can all be on the same page. It's also important when telling students what is expected of them, give them examples, show them what you want, tell them what you want. Don't be vague about instructions. Children need to know what is expected and what you expect from them. Make the directions clear and concise and provide feedback if they're not meeting those learning targets that you have set. It's also important to communicate the learning targets with them. Tell them what they will be able to do at the end of the lesson. Tell them what they will need to know by the end of the lesson so that if they're not getting it, it might register that they're not going to meet the learning target and you can help them get there. It's also important to monitor your students when they're working. Ask questions. Ask if they understand. Ask where they are. Talk to your students because your job is to be the director. Get them to that final destination. Get them to that learning goal. Help them with whatever they need. You might have to adjust your curriculum. You might have to have a little bit of self-reflection and say, okay, that wasn't my best lesson. Maybe next time. But whatever it takes, you need to get your students to that final learning target. Learning targets aren't scary. Just use your standard as your roadmap to get you where you want to go. Remember the 5 types. Decide which ones are important, which ones should weigh a little bit more for each lesson. And monitor your students. Ask your students for input. Did you like this lesson? Did this help you? And with all that combined, you'll get through this learning target thing with no trouble at all.